Greetings and welcome back to Room 303 in Freshman English, and we now turn to Gabriela Mistral's text, Rocking, on page 624, 625. Now, we will be reading in translation. However, we're going to enjoy the original read for us in Spanish. Before we get there, let's meet our author on page 619. Dates are 1889 to 1957. Born in Chile as Lucinda, this writer formed her pen name from the names of her two favorite poets, and she put them together to have her name of Mistral. Gabriela Mistral wrote many moving poems about children and motherhood. She was awarded the Nobel Prize in Literature in 1945, so you want to write that one down. Let's turn now, we're going to listen to a reading first in Spanish, then in English translation. Our translator here is Doris Dana, and then we'll come back to do some annotated work about this text. Let's go to work with it. Here we go.
Meciendo por Gabriela Mistral. El mar sus millares de olas mece, divino, oyendo a los mares amantes meso a mi niño. El viento errabundo una noche mece a los trigos, oyendo a los vientos amantes meso a mi niño. Dios Padre sus miles de mundos mece sin ruido, sintiendo su mano en la sombra meso a mi niño.
Rocking by Gabriela Mistral, translated by Doris Dana. The sea rocks her thousands of waves. The sea is divine. Hearing the loving sea, I rock my son. The wind, wandering by night, rocks the wheat. Hearing the loving wind, I rock my son. God, the Father, soundlessly rocks his thousands of worlds. Feeling his hand in the shadow, I rock my son.
All right, so let's take a look now at this poem, and let's ask some questions about the metaphors, the powerful symbolism in this poem, as well as the idea of love, but love from a different perspective. We often think, because we're freshmen, and when we hear the word love, we immediately think of the Romeo and Juliet, guys and girls, and all of that. But in this poem, we're going to have a different kind of love. The love of a mother that she feels towards her son. Notice we begin by, first of all, talking about the sea. The sea rocks her thousands of waves. The sea is divine. Hearing the loving sea, I rock my son. So go ahead and jot down in your notes what's powerful about this word picture. In the same way that the sea moves back and forth, a mother holds her child and rocks her son. There's something profoundly natural about this image, right? The sea is a natural image. The argument seems to be as well that the love of a mother for her child, for her son, is also natural. Look at the next word picture. The wind, wandering by night, rocks the wheat. Hearing the loving wind, I rock my son. So we go from the waves and water to the wind and the wheat. So notice that we're playing images games of the important stuff of our life. Water, land, wind, earth, wind, and fire, and all those other kinds of notions of elements come to mind, right? God the Father soundlessly rocks his thousands of worlds. Feeling his hand in the shadow, I rock my son. Well, this is the idea of fate or faith, however you wish to determine it, and the notion that somehow the world is constructed in such a way so that people can feel somehow safe, protected, tended. And she says, in the same way, she rocks her son. Now let's talk about, at level 2A then, what is actually the message of a poem like this? Jot down a primary message. Some will say that the love of a mother for her children, for her son, is as natural as the waves rocking, the wind blowing, or some notion of God or fate, nature, holding the world together. The idea that love of a parent towards a child is natural obviously begs all kinds of questions at 3B of whether you experience this or you continue to feel like you experience this in your life. Let's jump to 2b really quickly. The powerful word pictures here, the figurative language, the personification, notice as well, that's going on here. Jot down, what is for you your favorite symbol? Is it the water? Is it the wind and the wheat? Is it this notion of God the Father in the thousands of worlds? Is it the idea that Mother Nature is in control, or that the Father God is in control? What is it that works for you at that level of 2b? At 3a, we can ask, of course, the question about how does this relate to other texts that you know? What is your favorite text that suggests that a parent's love for the child is the most profound of loves? Right? Our study later in your high school career will take us to the great Christian saint, Saint Augustine. And in his classic text, Confessions, he writes about his mother named Monica, who is the penultimate example of a mother who takes so much concern for her son. What is the greatest movie for you that shows the love of a parent for a child and the willingness of the parent to sacrifice everything, maybe even including his or her life, for that child? And finally, now at level 3b, what is your feelings about the love of parents towards children? Do you feel that you've been raised with that? Do you feel that as you have gotten older, now that you're a freshman in high school, do you feel like things have changed between you and your parents? And in what ways have they changed? Do you feel like the love that you feel towards them and they feel towards you is stronger now than it was when you were 5, 2, 1? Has it gotten stronger? Has it gotten weaker? Or is that the nature of the way children and their parents love? It seems for a while that maybe the love is not as strong. It takes many years, and then you get to look back and say, wow, there was tremendous love there. Of course, note the irony. If you were rocked as a child, and you were, it's something you will never remember. Isn't that wild? You'll never remember it, and yet someone held you in your opening days of your life, in your infancy, right after you were born. Someone held you and rocked you, and maybe sang to you. And it's something that you don't even remember at all. You wouldn't be sitting here if somebody hadn't done it, because you couldn't take care of yourself. The profound importance of love in your life. And of course it does beg the question, do you think at any point in your life you'll ever rock your own child? Is that going to be an interesting moment when it comes full circle, and the minute you hold your own child you realize, I was rocked in the same way that I am now rocking a child of my own. And how compelling a moment will that be in the history of your life? Well, there you go, an introduction to Gabriela Mistral's rocking. Thank you.